A lot of my childhood experiences, honestly, is kind of what made me want to be in public service and to run for school board in the first place. And being, a student of color and a part of the LGBTQ plus community, and kind of trying to find my place throughout my childhood in our educational system, and a lot of the ways that, the systematic failures that a lot of our, the education system has right now, and beyond that, kind of the lack of voices that our young people and students have in the process. My freshman and sophomore year of high school were fairly tough times for me. Going to a new school, kind of trying to find my place in that school. I went through a lot of mental health struggles myself and ended up losing a friend of mine my sophomore year. And it kind of opened my eyes to a lot of the challenges that young people such as myself are facing. I think that has been exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic and a lot of the mental health struggles that we're facing. And I think it's a very multifaceted issue. It's not just the lack of resources related to counselors, other mental health services on our campuses, but also the stigma around mental health. And trying to foster those open and honest conversations of mental health and social emotional wellness in our schools is what first got me involved to kind of figure out, what is a school board? What do these school boards do? And what do they, how do they represent us as students? And so in 2018 was my first time approaching my school board and saying, hey, we need help. These are a lot of the struggles that we as your students are going through. And so we approached them with a resolution asking them to call on the state legislature and Governor Ducey to allocate more funding to school counselors, psychologists, social workers, etc. And we ended up getting that passed in more than a dozen school districts across the state just to start that conversation. And so that's kind of through that process of being able to work with district administration, school board leadership, that's kind of where I started to realize there really is a lack of student voices and youth voices on the governing bodies that make decisions for students on a daily basis. And so a couple of months after graduating from high school in the district, at 18, I decided to file to run for the board to bring that voice. And I think that's where a lot of those conversations started about what it means to have true representation for, governing boards. And I've always said this throughout my campaign and continue to say it even in the role that I'm in now, is a good governing body has true representation from the district that it represents. And that means, when you're overseeing, in our case, close to 14,000 students, at least one of those voices should be someone that has an idea and understanding of what it means to go through high school in our current climate.